The other day, I volunteered at my local food bank, and it's a great thing to do. If you have the time and the energy, I highly recommend it. It's very rewarding in its own way to give back to your community in some way. But I have to say that even though it was great, it was the engineering side of it that really kind of caught my attention. My spidey senses tingled, if you will. When you look at the whole thing, you get tons and tons of food that are being donated by local grocery stores and other places. That comes into this giant warehouse, and they have to get it out to the community. But there's a couple of steps in the process. The first is to check the expiration dates. You want to make sure that everything you're sending out into the community is still good food. So you have to have a process for actually managing that first. Then it goes and it gets put into different bins for different types of food that it is, whether it's dry goods, whether it's proteins, whether it's breakfast stuff, whether it's snacks, pasta, whatever. It all gets separated out in some way so that you have it in different categories. And then those categories get stacked up in boxes, and those boxes then get taken to the warehouse where they're put onto a truck. And that truck then distributes it out to the communities. But there's a process for that, and it's really amazing to watch it because there's a very specific engineering principle that goes along with that to make sure that it's done correctly. Then at the end of the month, they always do this thing where they're feeding the seniors in the community. And that is a very specific thing. Each box that you're going to create has certain things in it. It's very manufacturing oriented because you just start an assembly line. They line up all of these goods that they've already separated out, of course. And then you're just putting each one into a box along with all the other people that are standing on the assembly line, putting these in the box. And it's really remarkable to watch. And it's the simplest example of an assembly line and how it works. Now I've worked in manufacturing in my life, and it's really always kind of interesting in a way because there's a lot of technique to it. There's many different ways to look at engineering. But one of the more interesting things that came up throughout my life was this book called The Goal. It was this book about sort of engineering in a way, and it's dry and it's boring, but they tell a story in it about how you have to look at the line and make sure that the line is never held up by one thing. And the example they give is they're out on a scout trip, and there's a group of kids that are going along, and there's one kid who's really slow and he's always lagging behind. So what they do is they move him to the front of the line so everyone else always stays up with him. So that way you never lose anybody out of your group. And that's exactly what manufacturing is, and that's how you do it, so that you get the most throughput in it. You're always trying to produce the right amount of content, the right amount of whatever widget you're trying to create. You want to make sure that you have enough of them and that they're distributed appropriately. And it's just really neat to stop and think about it, that in this simple example of just separating out food for the community, you're doing manufacturing and you're understanding how the manufacturing process works. And I just wanted to share that with you. Sometimes you just have to think about things a little bit and you go, how could I apply this to other things, and how would other things apply to this to make it more efficient?